Hello everybody and welcome to the ESI Digest, where we run through the biggest esports business related stories of the week. I'm the host and the sub-editor of Esports Insider, and so let's kind of discuss everything that's been going on. So we've kind of got a Premier League side going into a new esports avenue. We've got a CSGO org launching a fan token, and also the Mayor of London being involved in some esports or in an esports organisation in particular as well. But let's start with that Premier League club involvement story. And let's mention the fact that Wolves have announced their entry into Rocket League. They've signed a team going into the Rocket League Championship Series, and they will be the first Premier League side to do so. And this kind of, for me, highlights Wolves as an organisation in terms of how they perceive esports. So we know that a lot of Premier League clubs have invested into FIFA. Obviously, there is the E-Premier League. And we've seen also Premier League players like Sergio Aguero, Christian Fuchs, and Gareth Bale now, because he's on loan, actually invest in kind of esports organisations themselves. But with Wolves, they've kind of taken a different approach in that I think that they see this more as an avenue for them to kind of expand their brand and also create a reputable organisation as an entity in esports itself. And that's kind of highlighted by the fact that, yes, they have got the FIFA 21 team, they have got the FIFA Online 4 team, but they've also kind of gone into PUBG, Identify and Pop Kart Racing as well. And there's probably a chance that they'll go into many more esports titles in the future. And Rocket League is one of them. Yes, it's more of a kind of football-related game, but it still kind of highlights the fact that not many teams are going into it by the fact that they are the first team to enter the Championship Series. They'll be going into the RLCS X Winter Split, which I believe is going to be kicking off soon, and possibly the chances are that Barcelona will also be in there, which is another team who kind of last year jumped into this kind of Rocket League scene to try and establish a name for themselves. And I believe that they've fared pretty well. I think they finished like 5th in the last major which they'd taken part in. And then you've also got teams like AC Milan who are teaming up with esports organisations. And maybe after they've got through their FIFA kind of venture, you can hopefully see them go into Rocket League as well. So it's really interesting to see the development of this scene, the development of, one, the Rocket League scene as an ecosystem, but two, how Premier League clubs now are going to perceive other esports now they've kind of done with the integration into FIFA as a whole. So let's kind of get away from, the football related news and let's go into some of it CSGO business related news. And Navi have launched a fan token on socios.com. Now this is in partnership with Chili's, and it sees them kind of do a very similar thing of the likes of Team Heretics have done and OG have done as well. And what it actually does is the partnership kind of sees holders of these Navi Fan Tokens obtain the ability to influence decisions which the organisation will give out to these fan owners. And also they can probably just have influencing decisions which, normally you wouldn't get if you didn't have kind of like a fan token available. They haven't kind of specifically gone into what kind of the decisions are, so it'll be interesting to see how much of an influence it is, but it kind of sees another esports team go into this kind of fan token blockchain world and use kind of blockchain and use kind of cryptocurrency to engage with fans a little bit more and to provide kind of a premium service for these fan token users. It's not just I did say that I wasn't going to talk about football, but it isn't just esports organisations. You've also got the likes of FC Barcelona, PSG, Juventus, who have already created these fan tokens on Socios as well. While it's not Socios, Gen G have done a very, very similar thing as well in creating like a fan token, blockchain currency. And so I'm wondering kind of see if this is the future of what fan engagement could be for certain esports organisations, because by giving them these tokens, by giving them these opportunities, which also can be traded on the platform itself, it gives them kind of a little bit more of a stake and a claim to kind of announce their fandom in a way that they can kind of get exclusives, which other, casuals would not be able to get. And so it kind of rewards the hardcore fans a little bit more. And so I'm wondering if that's the trend which we're going to start seeing. And we're already seeing a few esports organisations and traditional sporting clubs kind of go that route. So it would be quite nice to see how this development goes. So I did mention that we'll be talking about London as well, and so you can't get much bigger in London than I think the Mayor of London himself. So the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, has joined forces with the esports organisation London United, and it's basically for an initiative to tackle youth unemployment in the capital. Now, participants basically will be able to take part in an inter-borough esports championship, and it's for people from, I'm going to get this correctly, Hackney, Kingston, Lambeth and Lewisham. So it's those residents who have been selected right now to have this inter-promotional championship esports tournaments, but it's not just that as well. It includes like workshops, possible London internships as well, and then talks with the likes of FaZe Taz and Sadiq Khan himself as well. And so I think let's kind of take this from an outside, look at it as from an outside view. This is not just kind of some higher power essentially sponsoring and you're kind of associating themselves with an initiative. This is kind of highlighting how certain ways that politics now is kind of slowly getting involved into esports in the sense of kind of helping for example, this youth unemployment, or for example, in the presidential race as well, in the presidential election prior to that, you had Gamers Vote, which kind of gave the initiative of getting all these young gamers, this demographic, to kind of get them involved in politics a little more and get them to vote. So it's kind of showing how the two kind of sectors are starting to merge a little bit to try to target this younger demographic. And I think for this, especially for the London United Interborough Esports Championship, it's a great initiative to kind of get a younger demographic, get them talking with kind of, Sadiq Khan himself, also have workshops and potentially see if this could be another avenue of where employment can be given. And like they've said, London United, by the way, have already said that they would do initiatives. So I really like this, and I think it's actually a really interesting program as a whole. And there is then the possibility, if it does go well, that maybe it would enter more boroughs into the future. And so it could kind of lead to this kind of new initiatives which we haven't seen before. And I'm quite looking forward to see if more things like this are going to be done in the future. So the final story, which we're going to be touching on, is a Fnatic story. We're very UK-based, it seems, in this little digest. But Fnatic have added recording artist Not3s to its talent roster. Now, again, a little bit like the Rocket League news, we don't usually cover talent acquisitions and streamers and content and stuff like that. However, this is an incredibly interesting signing because it is the first UK British artist to actually sign with a UK esports organisation. And it's also kind of a collaborative effort. It's not just going to be a player into the roster. Apparently he'll be integrating with the Fnatic UK crew, which is a UK-based esports like professionals and content creators. And they play games such as FIFA, Fortnite, Call of Duty. And it kind of shows that what Fnatic's promise was really for quite a few years, that they're looking to kind of integrate esports into the mainstream culture, and by kind of having such a popular up-and-coming rapper in Not3s into its kind of portfolio of basically playing talent, it drives more of a mainstream viewership into, I would say, Fnatic for one, and also what could be the esports organisation as a whole. I know that last week we talked about the YouGov kind of study which they released, which said, I believe it was like 30% of UK residents kind of only 30%, know how to kind of properly define esports. And this kind of, for me, links onto that, is that this actually gives then people who are interested in the rapper himself actually a objective kind of look into esports and to see if we can kind of drive those numbers up. And it shows that then it's not just about kind of picking up these players, it's about kind of picking up the names to try to drive more people to esports, because ultimately, if you can get a few more thousand fans because of this signing which has happened, that's going to help participation. That's then going to get more people interested in esports, and that could also then, as a trickle-down effect, get more people into esports business and get potential investors also more interested into esports business. So they were the the biggest stories, I would say, of the week. We have loads more stories also covered on Esports Insider, so if you want to check those, then don't forget to go to the website as well. A lot of stories this week. We've got a few busy weeks of esports stories. We've got our monthly rundowns as well with Southeast Asia and India, which are also on there as well, and a lot of interesting stuff to go. So this has been Tom Daniels, and yeah, we'll see you next time.